Captain Park stood on the bridge of the horizon's edge, watching the stars blur past the viewport. Her ship had traveled farther than any human vessel in history, 3 months into deep space, and they had found nothing but empty systems and dead rocks. Then the sensors screamed. A massive structure materialized ahead of them, appearing from nowhere like a ghost. It was bigger than a city, shaped like a flower with 12 petals made of crystal and metal. Lights pulsed across its surface in patterns that hurt to watch. Hands gripped the command chair as smaller ships emerged from the station, surrounding her vessel in seconds. "Captain, we're being hailed," her communications officer said, voice shaking. "Multiple frequencies. They're trying every language protocol we have." "Answer them," said. "Let's meet our neighbors." The main screen flickered. A face appeared that was not human. Scales covered its skin in patterns of blue and green. Its eyes were golden and sat on the sides of its head. When it spoke, the words came through translated by their ship's computer. "Unknown vessel, you have entered Council space. Identify yourself or be destroyed." Stood straightening her uniform. "This is Captain Park of the human exploration ship Horizon's Edge. We come in peace from the planet Earth. We mean no harm." The creature studied her for a long moment. "Human, we have no record of your species. Prepare to be boarded for inspection. Do not resist or you will be eliminated." The next hours passed in a blur. Alien soldiers in armor came aboard, scanning everything with devices that hummed and clicked. They took samples of the crew's blood, recorded their voices, measured their bodies. One of the aliens, smaller than the others with fur instead of scales, watched closely. "Your stress hormones are elevated," it said, "but you show no fear response. Curious." "We're trained for first contact scenarios," replied. "We knew we might meet other species out here." "Trained for war, you mean," the alien said. "Your muscle density is twice that of most species. Your world's gravity must be extreme. And these scars on your body, they indicate a violent history." Touched the mark on her arm from her military service years ago. "Earth can be dangerous. We learn to adapt." The aliens conferred among themselves in clicking, whistling languages that the computer could not translate. Finally, the scaled one who had first appeared on screen approached. "I am of the Empire. You will follow our ships to Nexus Prime, the heart of the Galactic Council. Your species will be evaluated for membership or classification." "Classification?" asked. "Some species are too dangerous to join our civilization. They are marked as threats and contained to their home systems. Forever." Eyes gleamed. "We will see which category humans fall into." The journey to Nexus Prime took 3 days. Sent emergency communications back to Earth, knowing her message would take weeks to arrive. By then, whatever happened here would already be decided. The station that appeared before them made their escort ships look like insects. It was a ring 50 miles across, rotating slowly in space, with thousands of ships docked along its surface. Ambassador Minu had been sleeping in on the horizon's edge, waiting for this exact moment. When he woke and saw the station, he smiled. "We made it. We're not alone." "They're not exactly welcoming," warned him. "They think we're dangerous." "Then we'll prove them wrong," Minu said. "That's why I'm here." They were brought before the council in a chamber so vast that could not see the far walls. Hundreds of species sat in curved rows rising up like a stadium. She saw creatures with wings, others with too many limbs, some that seemed to be made of living crystal. At the center sat a being that looked like an insect the size of a horse, its shell gleaming black and red. "I am High Arbitrator," it said, its voice like grinding stones. "You stand before the gathered species of the Galactic Council. We have existed in peace for 3,000 years. We have ended war through law and honor. Your species will be judged." Minu stepped forward, his diplomat's training taking over. "Honored members of the Council, humanity is grateful for this opportunity. We have much to learn from you. Our history has been violent, yes, but we have worked hard to build a peaceful civilization. We want to join you among the stars." "Your psychological evaluations concern us," said, rising from his seat. "Your species shows elevated aggression, territorial behavior, and a disturbing capacity for coordinated violence. Your history is filled with wars that killed millions. You have developed weapons that could destroy your own world. Why should we trust such creatures?" "Because we chose not to use those weapons," Minyu replied. "Because we learned from our mistakes. Because we want something better." The council debated for hours. The humans could only stand and listen as their fate was discussed in dozens of languages. Some species argued for immediate containment. Others suggested careful integration. Finally, raised a clawed hand for silence. "We will grant provisional membership, but you must prove yourselves. You will follow the code of honorable conflict. War, when it cannot be avoided, must be conducted with rules, limits on weapons, targets, and casualties. This is how civilized species resolve disputes." "Of course," Minyu said, bowing. "We agree to your terms." That night, as they prepared to return to the horizon's edge, an alarm rang through Nexus Prime. Ran to the command center where council officers were gathered around displays showing a planet under attack. Ships swarmed around a colony world, and cities burned below. "The swarm has violated our borders," announced. "They attacked the colony of Tarsus VII. We will dispatch forces according to protocol." Minyu looked at, then back at. "Let us help. Let humanity prove we deserve our place here." Insect eyes studied them. "Very well, but you will follow our rules of engagement. This will be your test." As they left the chamber, felt a cold weight in her stomach. Something told her that following alien rules in a war was going to be harder than anything she had ever done. Admiral had commanded warships for 20 years. She had fought pirates in the asteroid belt, led peacekeeping missions on Mars, and trained every major fleet in Earth's defense force. When the call came to take a battle group to an alien war, she did not hesitate. The Retribution and its escort ships left Earth orbit within 12 hours. The briefing from War Master Dern came through on the third day of their journey. The avian commander appeared on screen, his feathers a deep purple that shifted to red when he moved. His beak clicked as he spoke. "Admiral, you will arrive at Tarsus VII in 2 days. The swarm has laid siege to the colony for 3 weeks. We have forces engaging them according to standard protocol. You will integrate with our fleet and follow all regulations of the Code of Honorable Conflict." "Understood," said. "Send me the engagement rules." What arrived in her made her read 3 times to believe. Lieutenant, her tactical officer, stood beside her as they reviewed the list. "They have to announce attacks 24 hours in advance," said. "That makes no sense. The enemy will just move." "It gets worse," said, scrolling down. "They can only fight in designated combat zones. Civilian areas are completely off limits, even if the enemy uses them as bases. Certain weapons are banned because they're considered dishonorable, and they have to stop fighting if casualties reach 10% of forces." "Admiral, these aren't rules for war," said quietly. "This is a game. This is playing at combat." Looked at the data showing Tarsus VII. The colony had 2 million inhabitants. The swarm had been attacking for 3 weeks, and council forces had barely slowed them down. "Find out everything you can about how the council fights. I need to understand what we're walking into." Spent the next day researching council military history. What he found disturbed him. The council had been at war with the swarm for 15 years. In that time, they had fought hundreds of battles but gained almost no ground. The swarm kept taking territory while the council followed their rules like sacred law. "They treat war like a sport," reported to. "Both sides follow the code. They announce their attacks, fight in open areas, use approved weapons only. When casualties get too high, both sides retreat and negotiate. Then they do it again." And the swarm just agrees to these rules? Asked. Apparently, every species in the council follows the code. It's been this way for thousands of years. Breaking the rules is considered worse than losing. Stared at the tactical display. What happens to civilians while they're playing their game? They evacuate them to safe zones, usually if there's time. The retribution dropped from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Tarsus VII system. What saw made her blood run cold. The planet below was half covered in swarm, organic vessels that looked like flying insects the size of buildings. Council warships engaged them in neat formations, firing weapons that flashed bright but did little damage. And on the planet's surface, cities burned. Shin, the combat medic assigned to document the operation, stood beside on the bridge. Admiral, I'm reading massive civilian casualties, thousands dead, and the council ships are just dancing around up here following their rules. Get me War Master Dern, ordered. The avian commander appeared, his feathers ruffled. Admiral, maintain your position. We have filed the proper combat requests and will engage the enemy in Sector 7 in 18 hours. 18 hours. Commander, people are dying right now. I can see cities under attack from here. Those are non-combat zones. The swarm is not supposed to target them. We have filed formal protests. Felt something break inside her. You're filing protests while they kill civilians. We must follow the code, Dern said firmly. Without it, we are no better than barbarians. You agreed to our terms. You will wait for proper engagement protocols. The channel closed, stood silent for a long moment. Her crew watched her, waiting. They all knew what Earth's rules of war said. Protect civilians first, eliminate threats completely, and never let honor get in the way of winning. Said quietly, what's our full weapons load? Kinetic strike packages, cyber warfare systems, stealth missiles, and 3 tactical nuclear devices for hardened targets. All banned by the Council Code. Every single one, Admiral. Walked to the tactical display and studied the swarm positions. She saw their landing zones, their supply lines, and their command clusters. In her mind, she built an attack plan that would have made any Earth military academy proud. It would work. It would save lives, and it would break every rule the Council held sacred. Approached her. Admiral, we took an oath to follow their code. I took an oath to protect the innocent, replied. I'm looking at a planet full of dying people while these aliens play at war. That ends now. She turned to her crew. All ships, battle stations. Target every swarm position on the surface and in orbit. Use everything we have. Cyber warfare, begin infiltrating their command networks. Stealth bombers, prepare for immediate launch. I want every swarm vessel in this system combatant effective within 6 hours. Admiral, her communications officer said nervously. War Master Dern is hailing us. He says we must stand down immediately. Tell him we're experiencing communications difficulties. Then cut the channel. The Retribution and its escort ships dropped into attack formation. They did not announce their intentions. They did not wait for approved combat zones. They did not use honorable weapons. They fought the way humans had fought for thousands of years, with every advantage and no mercy. Kinetic strikes fell from orbit like the hammer of an angry god, turning swarm landing zones into craters. Cyber weapons infected there, causing them to turn on each other in confusion. Stealth missiles appeared from nowhere, destroying command clusters before the swarm knew they were under attack. Human marines deployed to the surface in areas the Council declared off-limits, clearing swarm forces from civilian centers with brutal efficiency. The Council fleet watched in frozen horror, their communications filled with panicked messages. They are violating the code. This is not honorable combat. Make them stop. But the humans did not stop, coordinated the attack with the cold precision of a chess master. Every move was calculated for maximum effect. No swarm position was safe. No retreat was allowed. Within 12 hours, the swarm forces on Tarsus VII were broken and fleeing. Within 18 hours, they were destroyed completely. Stood on her bridge watching the tactical display go quiet. Not a single swarm vessel remained. The colony below was saved, though fires still burned in the cities. Her crew was silent, processing what they had just done. Casualties asked. 42 dead, 118 wounded, reported. Swarm casualties are total. We estimate 15,000 enemy forces eliminated. And civilian deaths. Checked her medical reports. Council estimates say 3,000 civilians died before we arrived. Our intervention saved approximately 1.9 million people. Nodded slowly. Open a channel to War Master Dern. The avian commander appeared and he looked like he had seen a ghost. His feathers were pale, his eyes wide. Behind him, other council officers moved in chaos. "What have you done?" Dern whispered. "What have you done?" "We won," said simply. "The colony is secure. The swarm is eliminated. Your civilians are safe. You broke every law of warfare. You used forbidden weapons. You showed no honor, no mercy. You did not fight them, you annihilated them." "Yes," said, "that's what war is. That's what winning looks like." Dern's beak opened and closed soundlessly. Finally, he found words. "You are monsters. The council will hear of this. You will be judged." The channel closed. Looked at her crew, and she saw both pride and fear in their faces. They had saved millions of lives. They had also revealed to the galaxy what humans truly were. "Take us back to Nexus Prime," ordered. "I think we're about to have a very difficult conversation." The tribunal chamber on Nexus Prime was packed with representatives from every council species. Ambassador Minu sat alone at a table in the center, surrounded by thousands of alien eyes. Above him, holographic displays showed footage of the Battle of Tarsus VII playing on repeat. Explosions, falling kinetic strikes, swarm ships tearing apart under human weapons. Stood at the prosecutor's position, his scales gleaming under the harsh lights. "The evidence is clear. Humanity has committed severe violations of the Code of Honorable Conflict. They used banned weapons. They targeted enemy forces without warning. They showed no mercy to defeated opponents. They treated war as extermination rather than dispute resolution." Minu watched the footage play again. He had seen it 100 times now. Each time he tried to see it through alien eyes. What looked like a rescue to him appeared as butchery to them. "Ambassador," continued, "your species agreed to follow our laws. You gave your word. Then you broke it at the first opportunity. What do you have to say?" Minu stood slowly. "I say we saved almost 2 million lives. I say we ended in 18 hours what your forces could not end in 3 weeks. I say we did what needed to be done." The chamber erupted in angry sounds. Clicks, whistles, roars in a dozen languages. High Arbitrator raised his clawed hands for silence. "You do not understand," said. "War without rules is barbarism. It leads to total destruction. The code exists to protect all species from the horror of unlimited violence." "But your code does not protect civilians," Minu replied. "Your code lets them die while you follow rules. How is that better?" Captain Bay sat in a viewing area above the main floor, watching the proceedings. She had been sent by Earth to investigate and report back. For 3 days, she had interviewed the human soldiers who fought at Tarsus VII. Every conversation had been the same. "Did you know you were breaking their laws?" she had asked one young Marine. "Yes, ma'am, but there were civilians dying, kids, families. The council ships were just floating up there doing nothing." "Did it bother you? Using weapons they consider dishonorable." The Marine had looked confused. "Dishonorable? We saved people. How is that dishonorable?" Had talked to Admiral too. The older woman had been calm, certain of her choices. "I would do it again," had said. "Every time. I became a soldier to protect people, not to play games while they die." now watched as the council presented their case. They showed footage of human weapons in action, explaining why each was banned. Kinetic strikes caused excessive destruction. Cyber warfare was considered cowardly. Surprise attacks violated the enemy's right to prepare for honorable combat. On and on the list went. A new figure appeared at the witness position. It was Park, a human who specialized in alien cultures. He had been studying council species since first contact. Now he stood before them with a presentation that would change everything. "Honored council members," began, "I believe there is a fundamental misunderstanding here. You judge humanity by your standards, but you do not understand where those standards come from." He activated a display showing Earth. It rotated slowly, blue and green and beautiful. "This is our home world. To you it seems normal, but it is not. Earth is what we call a death world. Its gravity is 50% higher than the council average. Its weather is violent and unpredictable. Its oceans are filled with predators. Its land hosts diseases that kill with efficiency." The display changed, showing various Earth creatures: lions, sharks, bears, snakes. These are some of the species humans evolved alongside. We were not the strongest or fastest. We survived by becoming smarter, more adaptable, and more dangerous than anything else. We learned to hunt in coordinated groups. We learned to make weapons. We learned to plan and deceive and ambush. "This is supposed to make us trust you," demanded. "No," said quietly. "It is supposed to make you understand us. Humans did not choose to be violent. We evolved for it. Aggression kept us alive. Strategic thinking let us defeat creatures stronger than ourselves. The ability to coordinate lethal force became written into our very nature." He brought up charts showing human physiology compared to council species. Our stress hormones, our muscle density, our reaction times, they are all optimized for combat. War is not something humans do. It is something we are. The chamber fell silent, leaned forward. "Then you admit you are too dangerous for civilized society?" "No," said, "because we are also optimized for something else, protecting our young, caring for our weak, cooperating with our group. Humans are violent, yes, but that violence serves a purpose. We fight to protect. We kill to save. We annihilate threats because we refuse to let the innocent suffer." A new figure entered the chamber. It was a small creature with gray skin and large eyes, wearing simple clothing. This was a survivor from Tarsus VII. She had asked to testify and the council had granted permission. "I lived in the capital city," said in a soft voice. "When the swarm came, the council forces told us we would be safe. They said they were following protocol. We waited in shelters while we heard the sounds of battle outside. But the battle never came close. The council ships stayed in their approved combat zones." Her voice broke slightly. "The swarm did not. They ignored the rules. They came into our city. We called for help. The council said they could not engage in civilian areas without proper authorization. That would take time, maybe days. Meanwhile, we were dying." She looked up at the gathered species. "Then the humans came. They did not ask permission. They did not wait for authorization. They dropped from the sky and they fought in our streets. They used weapons you call dishonorable. They showed no mercy to the swarm, and they saved us." Tears rolled down her gray face. "My daughter is alive because humans broke your rules. My parents, my neighbors, my friends, they are alive because humans chose to fight instead of waiting for permission. You call them monsters. I call them heroes." The chamber was absolutely silent. Minu watched as council members looked at each other, uncertainty in their alien faces. Tried to respond. But if everyone ignores the code, war becomes total. It becomes extinction. "War already was total," Minu said. "For the civilians dying while you followed rules. The code does not stop war. It just makes it last longer." Over the next hours, the debate raged. Some species wanted humanity expelled immediately, calling them too dangerous to exist in council space. Others argued that humans had proven their value, that their methods had worked when nothing else did. The vote was called 3 times and deadlocked each time. Then alarms began ringing throughout Nexus Prime. Emergency broadcasts lit up every screen in the chamber. High Arbitrator stood, his shell suddenly seeming very fragile. The swarm has launched simultaneous invasions across 12 Council worlds. They are not following any protocols. They are not restricting their attacks to combat zones. They are attacking everywhere at once. The chamber erupted in panic. For the first time in 15 years, the swarm had abandoned the code entirely. They had learned from watching the humans that breaking the rules worked. His voice cut through the chaos. Our fleets are responding according to protocol, but they are being overwhelmed. The swarm is ignoring all our engagement requests. They are targeting civilians directly. He turned to look at Minu, and the human saw fear in those insect eyes. Ambassador, can your people help us again? Minu stood. Yes, but not by your rules. If we fight to win. Completely. We will use every advantage we have. We will show no mercy to your enemies. Can you accept that? The chamber fell silent. The council faced an impossible choice. Follow their code and watch their civilization burn, or embrace human methods and abandon 3,000 years of tradition. High Arbitrator looked at the displays showing 12 worlds under attack. He looked at his fellow council members. Then he made a decision that would change galactic history forever. Do whatever is necessary, said. Save our people. Admiral stood in the war room aboard Nexus Prime, surrounded by holographic displays showing 12 council worlds burning. The swarm had launched the largest invasion in their history, hitting everywhere at once. Traditional council fleets were scattered and confused, their commanders unsure how to respond to an enemy that ignored all the rules. General appeared on the main screen, transmitted from Earth's military headquarters in Geneva. His gray hair and lined face showed decades of command experience. Admiral, we're sending everything we have. 20 battle groups are en route, ETA 48 hours. What's the situation? Chaos, said bluntly. The council fleets are trying to follow their engagement protocols while the swarm tears them apart. We need to take operational command immediately. High Arbitrator entered the war room with War Master Dern and a dozen other council military leaders. They looked lost, their carefully structured worldview collapsing around them. Admiral said, I am granting you full operational authority over all council defense forces. Do what you must. Felt the weight of that responsibility settle on her shoulders. She was about to command hundreds of ships from dozens of species, most of whom had never fought real war. I need your commanders to follow my orders without question. No delays for consultation. No debates about honor. Can you guarantee that? War Master Dern's feathers were pale with stress. Our warriors have trained their entire lives in the code. What you ask is against everything they believe. Then they will die, said flatly. And so will the people they are supposed to protect. I need an answer now. Clicked his mandibles together. They will obey. I will make it an emergency decree. Turned to the tactical displays and began issuing orders. Her command style shocked the council officers. She did not request permission or follow any protocol. She simply told each fleet where to go and what to do. Third Fleet, abandon your patrol route and jump immediately to Prime. Ignore the swarm forces in orbit and focus on ground support. Fourth and Fifth Fleets, you are now one combined unit under temporary command of Captain Lee. Sixth Fleet, begin moving to intercept swarm reinforcements here and here. Do not engage. I repeat, do not engage. Wait for my signal. War Master Dern watched in disbelief. You are dividing our forces. You are sending ships away from combat zones. You are ordering commanders to not fight. This makes no sense. It will, said. General, what's the status of the special operations teams? On screen, smiled grimly. Commander Nam is already in transit with Strike Team 7. She has authorization to use any necessary measures. Good, Target Package Alpha is approved. Execute when in position. The next hours became a blur of coordinated chaos. Implemented tactics the Council had never seen. She used deception, creating fake signals to draw swarm forces into traps. She targeted supply lines instead of fighting ships, cutting off the enemy's support. She ordered strikes on swarm command nodes, breaking their coordination. Commander Nam led her team deep behind enemy lines. They infiltrated a massive swarm hive ship, the biological command center for an entire invasion fleet. Council observers watched in horror as the humans planted nuclear devices throughout the vessel's vital areas. "This is murder," one Council officer protested. "The ship has not been given proper warning. The crew has not been allowed to evacuate." "The ship's crew is trying to kill billions of your civilians," replied calmly. "I do not care about their evacuation rights." The nuclear devices detonated simultaneously, turning the hive ship into an expanding cloud of radioactive debris. 300 swarm vessels lost coordination instantly, becoming easy targets for Council forces. War Master Dern stood beside, watching the tactical display update. "You destroy them without mercy, without honor. How do you sleep at night?" "Better than I would if I followed your rules and let civilians die," replied. She pointed to a planet on the display. "Prime has 3 billion people. The swarm is attacking their cities directly. Your code says we should wait for proper engagement authorization. My code says we kill everything threatening those 3 billion people. Which code do you prefer?" Dern had no answer. General coordinated training sessions across Council space, teaching alien warriors how to fight like humans. The sessions were brutal and shocking to species raised on honorable combat. "You must use cover," explained to a group of crystalline soldiers. "Hiding is not cowardice, it is survival." "But the code says we should face our enemy openly," one protested. "The code will get you killed. I am teaching you how to live." He showed them ambush tactics, retreat strategies, and deception techniques. The Council warriors struggled with concepts that violated everything they believed. Fighting from hiding felt wrong. Using tricks felt shameful. Targeting enemy leaders felt dishonorable. "Your feelings do not matter," said harshly. "Results matter. Dead soldiers protect no one. Swallow your pride and learn." Slowly, painfully, they learned. Council forces began using human tactics. They stopped announcing attacks. They started using terrain for advantage. They targeted swarm weak points instead of fighting head-on. It felt wrong to them, but it worked. On the 4th day of the campaign, launched her largest operation. She had been moving pieces into position like a chess master, and now all the pieces were ready. Swarm forces had concentrated on 6 key worlds, believing they could overwhelm the defenders through sheer numbers. "All fleets execute Operation Thunder," ordered. 20 human battle groups dropped from faster-than-light travel simultaneously, appearing at the 6 target worlds at the exact same moment. But they did not engage the swarm forces. Instead, they launched long-range missiles at coordinates deep in swarm-controlled space. "What are those targets?" demanded. "Swarm-breeding worlds," said. "The places where they grow their forces. We hit 7 of them simultaneously with kinetic bombardment. The swarm is about to lose their ability to replace casualties." "But those worlds are far from any combat zone. They have not been approved for engagement." "Exactly, they will never see it coming." The kinetic strikes hit minutes later. Massive tungsten rods dropped from orbit at incredible speeds, releasing energy equal to nuclear weapons, but without the radiation. 7 swarm-breeding worlds were rendered uninhabitable in under an hour. The effect was immediate. Swarm forces across all 12 invaded worlds began retreating, desperately trying to protect their remaining breeding grounds, but had anticipated this. Council fleets were positioned to intercept every retreat route. The swarm found themselves caught between human attack forces and blocking Council ships. "Now we end this," said. "All forces weapons free, no mercy, no surrender accepted. Eliminate every swarm vessel in Council space." The battle that followed was not honorable. It was not civilized. It was extermination. Human forces led the attack with brutal efficiency while Council ships, following orders, cut off all escape routes. Commander and her teams continued destroying swarm command vessels, creating chaos in their ranks. War Master Dern watched his own ships fight in ways he never imagined. They used human tactics now, striking from ambush, targeting weak points, showing no quarter. His warriors reported feeling shame at these methods, but they also reported victory after victory. "Is this what war truly is?" Dern asked quietly. "Not a contest of honor but simple murder on a massive scale." "War is whatever it takes to protect your people," replied. "Honor is a luxury of peacetime." On the 6th day of the campaign, the last swarm vessel fled Council space. Did not let them escape. She sent pursuit forces to track them back to swarm territory, mapping every route and base. When the pursuit ships returned, she had complete intelligence on swarm space for the first time in 15 years. "We should pursue them," Commander suggested. "Finish them completely." "No," said. "We were given authority to defend Council space. That mission is complete. What happens next is not our decision." The war room fell silent as the tactical displays showed green across all 12 worlds. The invasion was over. The swarm was defeated. But the cost showed in the numbers. Millions dead, dozens of colonies damaged, and entire sections of space declared too dangerous for habitation. High Arbitrator stood among the aftermath of victory, looking at the displays. "You won. In 6 days, you accomplished what we could not achieve in 15 years, but at such a price." "War has a price," said. "Always. The question is whether you pay it in one terrible week or spread it over decades of slow dying. You chose your code to minimize violence, but all you did was ensure the violence lasted longer." Turned to look at her. "Are all humans like you? Are you all such efficient killers?" "No," said. "Most humans want peace. Most humans hate violence. But when violence becomes necessary, yes, we are very good at it, because we learned long ago that the fastest way to end a war is to win it completely." "And that does not frighten you, that capacity for destruction?" Met his insect eyes steadily. "It terrifies me, every day, but not as much as watching innocents die while I follow rules." The Grand Assembly Chamber of Nexus Prime had never been so crowded. Every species in the Council sent representatives. They came to decide the fate of humanity and, in many ways, the future of the galaxy itself. Ambassador Minu stood at the center once again, but this time the mood was different. Fear mixed with gratitude in equal measure. High Arbitrator called the session to order. "We gather to address the question of humanity's place in the Galactic Council. They have saved us. They have also shown us what they truly are. We must decide if we can coexist with such dangerous saviors." Rose to speak first. The scaled diplomat looked older somehow, worn down by recent events. "I was humanity's harshest critic. I called them monsters. I demanded their expulsion. I was wrong." A murmur of surprise rippled through the chamber. "I watched humans fight," continued. "I saw them use methods that made my blood run cold, but I also saw why they used those methods. They were not fighting for glory or honor. They were fighting to save lives. Every brutal tactic, every merciless strike, it all served one purpose: ending the threat as quickly as possible to minimize suffering." He looked at Minu. "Humans do not enjoy war. They simply understand it in a way we refuse to. They know that half measures only prolong agony. I do not like their methods. I am not sure I ever will, but I cannot deny they work." Other species spoke next. Some praised humanity's effectiveness. Others expressed continued fear. A crystalline being named Architect spoke for many when she said, "How can we trust beings who kill so efficiently? What stops them from turning that violence against us?" Minyu had been listening quietly, but now he stood. "Nothing stops us. That is the truth you need to hear. Humans are capable of tremendous violence. We could threaten any species here, but capability is not intent." He gestured to the displays showing Earth. "My planet has known war for its entire history, thousands of years of humans fighting humans. We developed weapons that could destroy our entire world, and yet we are still here. We did not destroy ourselves. We learned to control our violent nature. We built peaceful societies. We reached for the stars seeking friends, not conquest." "But you remain violent," another council member said. "Your nature has not changed." "No," Minyu agreed. "It has not. Humans will always have that capacity, but we choose how to use it. We choose to protect rather than oppress. We choose to defend rather than conquer. That choice is what defines us." Admiral entered the chamber, still wearing her military uniform. She had been invited to speak about human military philosophy. She walked to stand beside Minyu. "Asked what stops us from turning our violence against you," said. "I will answer. We do not need to. Humans do not seek dominance. We seek security. We want to know our families are safe, our homes are protected, and our friends are defended. If you give us that security, we have no reason to threaten you." She looked around at the gathered species. "But if you ask us to fight for you, we will fight in the only way we know how, with everything we have, without mercy for those who threaten innocence. We cannot fight your way because your way does not work. You maintained peace through rules, but rules only work when everyone follows them. The swarm proved that." War Master Dern stood in the council section. His purple feathers had regained some of their color. "I trained under the code my entire life. I believed honor in combat was essential to civilization. Then I watched humans fight, and I realized honor is meaningless if you lose." He spread his wings. "Human methods felt wrong. They still feel wrong, but they saved billions of lives. My own family lives on Prime. They are alive because humans did not wait for proper authorization, because humans chose victory over honor." Oh, a young human diplomat who had arrived with the relief forces stepped forward. She represented a new generation, one that had grown up knowing aliens existed. "Honored council members," said, "I think there is a misunderstanding about what we are offering. We do not want to change your society. We do not want you to become warriors like us. What we offer is protection so you do not have to." She smiled softly. "Your species have built beautiful civilizations. You create art and music and philosophy. You explore science and culture. Those are gifts we want to learn from you. In exchange, we will be your shield. We will handle the violence so you do not have to stain your hands with it." "But that makes you our masters," someone protested. "Those with weapons rule those without." "Only if we choose to rule," replied. "And we do not choose that. We want partners, not subjects. Yes, humans are dangerous, but danger in the service of protection is not tyranny." The debate continued for hours. Species argued about trust, about power, about the nature of civilization. Finally, High Arbitrator called for proposals. "The council cannot continue as it was," said. "The swarm proved our methods were insufficient. We must adapt or die. I propose a new structure. The council maintains its civilian government, its diplomatic functions, and its peaceful traditions. But humanity becomes our military arm, our defenders of last resort." He clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. "We will create a new designation, Council Wardens. Humans will take an oath to protect all council species and use their military capabilities only in defense of galactic civilization. They will operate under council oversight but with tactical autonomy when threats emerge." "And if they abuse that power?" someone asked. "Then we revoke it," said simply. "This is a partnership built on trust. Both sides must choose it freely." Minyu looked at, then at. This was the moment. They could accept and become the galaxy's protectors, or refuse and return to Earth alone. We accept, Minyu said. On behalf of humanity, we accept the role of Council Wardens. We will protect you. We will defend your people. We will fight the wars you cannot fight, but we ask something in return. Name it, said. Teach us how to live in peace. Humans are good at war, but we are still learning peace. Share your wisdom, your culture, your philosophy. Help us become better than we are. A vote was called. Species after species cast their decision. The result was not unanimous. Some species voted against humanity, unable to overcome their fear, but the majority voted yes. Humanity would join the Galactic Council with the unique designation of Council Wardens. The ceremony that followed was broadcast across the entire galaxy. Minyu, Admiral, and General stood before High Arbitrator and took an oath that would bind their species. We, the representatives of humanity, accept the role of Council Wardens. We swear to protect all Council species. We swear to use our strength only in defense of the innocent. We swear to be the shield that allows civilization to flourish. We swear to be the sword that strikes down those who threaten peace. We will not seek glory. We will not seek power. We seek only to ensure that the galaxy remains safe for all who live in it. Responded with the Council's pledge. We accept humanity as our protectors. We will trust them with our defense. We will support their efforts. We will teach them our ways. Together, we will build a stronger, safer galaxy. Weeks later, stood on an observation deck aboard Nexus Prime, looking down at Earth. It hung in space like a blue jewel, beautiful and terrible all at once. The planet that had birthed humanity's violence and humanity's compassion. Joined her carrying 2 cups of tea. Do you think we made the right choice, becoming the galaxy's warriors? Accepted the tea and sipped it thoughtfully. We did not become warriors. We already were warriors. What we became is something new, guardians. What is the difference? Warriors fight for themselves. Guardians fight for others. Gestured to the thousands of alien ships moving around Nexus Prime. All these species, they have the luxury of peace because we are willing to bear the burden of violence. That is our gift to the galaxy. And what do we get in return? Smiled. We get to learn how to be better. We get friends among the stars. We get a purpose beyond just surviving. For thousands of years, humans fought each other because we had no other threat to unite against. Now we do. Now we can turn our violent nature towards something worthy. Below them, a human child played with an alien child in one of the station's public gardens. The human girl was teaching the alien boy how to throw a ball. The alien boy was showing the girl how his species danced. They laughed together in the universal language of childhood. That is what we are really protecting, said quietly. The chance for the next generation to grow up in a galaxy where they can be friends, where they can learn from each other, where they can build something better than what we had. Watch the children play. Do you think humans will change? Will we become less violent? I do not know. Maybe. Or maybe we will just learn to channel that violence into protection instead of destruction. Either way, we have time to figure it out. Commander Nam appeared on the observation deck, joining them. Admiral, we have a situation. The swarm is testing our borders again. Small raids. They want to see if we are still watching. Set down her tea. Then we remind them. Assemble Strike Team 7. Show them that Council Wardens do not sleep. Yes, Admiral, smiled slightly. It feels strange, you know, fighting to protect species we just met. It does, agreed. But it also feels right. Maybe this is what humans were meant for all along, not to conquer the galaxy but to defend it. As left to prepare, her team looked back at the stars. Somewhere out there, threats existed. The swarm was only one of them. The galaxy was vast and dangerous. But for the first time in history, the peaceful species of the Council did not face those threats alone. Humanity had come to the stars seeking peace. Instead, they had found their purpose. They were the guardians, the protectors, the ones willing to do what others could not. They were the species that did not fight. They annihilated, but only those who threatened the innocent. And in that terrible capability, they had found something unexpected. Not just acceptance among the stars, but a chance to become something greater than they had been. Warriors in service to peace, killers who protected life, monsters who defended the helpless. Raised her teacup toward Earth in silent salute. To humanity, the species too dangerous for its own good, now finding redemption in protecting others. To the future, where violence could serve peace and monsters could become heroes. The stars shone bright with possibility.